your body will be hit by 3 strikes of emerald green lightning. On the 3rd strike, you will rise.
With every human being acting as a vessel to 3 realms, the cease of the beating heart kills 3 forms of life.
With each deep breath you take, the gears of the mind realm temple begin to slow to a rhythm in sync with that of your heart.
Like our ancestors before us, we rise from the depths and fall into space. We are voyagers through the Alpha and the Omega. We are Omninauts. Now,
Say aloud.
I am the fire to bring peace to this new world.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please give a big Mad Monster Arizona welcome to the creator, producer, and writer of The Ignition, Hunter Wayne. And for our panel tonight, we have virtually attending, taking part in this Q&A, we have composer Carla Petula, actor Tommy Earl Jenkins, and sound designer Andrew Contos. Cool. So thank you all as well too for joining us here, and we're going to open the questions for you in just a little bit as well. So if you have any, please feel free to ask. And let's go ahead and begin, Hunter, with what was the inspiration for this project?
So what it really came down to was the sense of self and just our concern for our human spirit is really the silver lining in 2 of these amazing genres, and all what keeps the alligators at bay for me, so to speak, is the sounds and the visuals that the creatures and the monsters from all of these different things I really enjoyed was there, and so I wanted to really do a meditative album that brings 3 things that I really enjoy center stage, and yeah, that was my inspiration for that.
Nice. How long have you been working on this?
I've been writing it for I've been working on it for a little over a year now, and there's been a few iterations of it throughout that time. But the shoe didn't really drop, and things didn't really get going until COVID started. It's like 2020's beginning was the Ignition's beginning in a lot of ways. And thank you. And yeah, it's just considering how many things throughout all of art and entertainment run into a halt. I'm just very fortunate to have worked with these beautiful people, these inspiring people. It really is like one of the joys of my life.
And I want to thank Carla and Tommy and Andrew for joining us virtually this evening. So thank you for joining us. Can each of you talk a little bit about how you became involved with this project and with Hunter?
Oh, okay. I met Hunter back at South by Southwest years ago, and it was a really fun meeting because we were just both at this party, this awkward, festival party, and alone. And I just kind of turned around and there was Hunter and walked up to him, and we just immediately just started talking, and he was, the kindest person. I felt so comfortable talking with him, and we just started realizing how much, we had in common as far as music goes and films, and so we stayed in touch, and then he, I was starting to work on some horror stuff, and then he reached out to me, and we just began, started telling me about his project, and I was like I loved it. I was like, I'll do anything. Just let me know when you're ready, and we'll get going. I'd love to be a part of it. It's just when there's good energy out there, and Hunter has this amazing energy, and it just felt like a great project to be a part of from the beginning.
I, met Hunter through him reaching out to my representation. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was familiar with my work on the recent Death Stranding by Hideo Kojima, the video game where I played Die Hardman. And he reached out explaining this project. My team kind of let me know what it was all about. And I thought, this sounds really cool. This sounds like something I had never done anything quite like this in terms of, and certainly narrating and just getting a chance to see the script of what I was going to do, and knowing that it was a sort of meditative sort of rock album, that just really kind of blew my mind a bit, because I thought, how is this going to work? But I was in 100%. And also being someone who does meditate, I kind of got a sense of where it was going to go. And I felt like I knew what I could bring to it, because I do kind of start my day pretty much with a sort of 15, 20-minute meditation before I get my day started. I try to center myself. So I hope that people will find this somehow centering in some ways, and certainly to take them on a journey. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
And then Andrew?
So Hunter and I met at a local pub here in Los Angeles. I was with a friend named Ryan, and we were actually talking about meditation and film. This was years ago, so it's wonderful that it wrapped around into this now. But we started talking about film. We started talking about life. He was there with one of his friends from Texas. He had just moved to town, I think. Hunter, is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. And then it just turned into us just spending time together and talking and sharing life stories and just having a good time. And eventually it evolved into working on one of his past films called Starlets, helping him out a little bit with that. And then just coming up with these creative ideas and these thoughts, and just letting like these weird ideas permeate and come, create these weird sounds and all these other fun things. And this was just a natural evolution of our relationship and our friendship. So I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Was how does spirituality and meditation fit into y'all's everyday lives? And I know, Tommy, you've answered that fairly well, but Andrew?
For me, I grew up complete Bible thumping Christian, and without getting too far into details, there was a time when I died. I was gone for a long time. I was gone for about 3.5-4 minutes. Wow. And that turned into me inevitably finding Buddhism, and from Buddhism finding Stoicism, and finding meditation, and finding the ability to look for answers within myself, and believing that I was the one who had all the choice, all the options. Everything was up to me. And so spirituality as it is more about looking within and finding the answers that just we innately all have as human beings.
Yeah, I would say for me, I grew up Catholic, so but I haven't really practiced a religion in the last 20 plus years. But I this year began meditating, and I think it had to do with some personal struggles that I was going through, as well as just COVID and everything, all the chaos in the world right now. And so it's been an interesting process for me as I've been working on this project, and also bringing this element into my life. And it's definitely musically, I've thought about it a lot with this project, kind of staying in that, that world where you're like in yourself and struggling for that inner peace, but then it's like, these haunting, and then this anxiety is just spilling out. So it's, it's been an interesting project to work on while beginning to really get going with meditation.
Your music's so good in this. I got to tell everyone. Your music is so good.
I can't
really
wait.
It's incredible.
I'm inspired by everything I've been hearing from you, Andrew, and and the voices. It's just sounded so beautiful, and it's just all really inspired me. So, yeah, it's a good synergy.
A sci-fi or horror project, because the stuff that y'all have worked on, like, I really did take a calming sort of nature to it that is very much in a meditative state. And I was wondering if there are any sci-fi or horror things, anything whatsoever, that y'all find a calming center in, that y'all enjoy.
Oh man, that's a loaded question. Honestly, the first time I watched it, scared the living hell out of me. But now I just enjoy the process of it. Event Horizon, guys. One of the most mind-bendingly, like, breaks your spirit just because you just get so tripped out in that movie. So incredible. Every piece of that film is just, what the hell am I watching? There you go. That's my thing. I love it.
I love that.
Because you always, you watch that movie by yourself, but you always feel like there's somebody standing behind you.
Yeah.
For me, I if I have to stop and think about, I'm not a sci-fi, I'm not a horror fan. Sci-fi, I'm good. Horror, I have to really brace myself for. And the one, like you, as a young guy, I kind of grew up with having seen The Exorcist, which was probably the scariest movie for me growing up, and it stayed with me for so long that anytime I would hear the word or someone would mention it, I would just shudder inside. But it's interesting now when I think about it, looking back, as we get older from childhood, and things that used to scare us don't scare us as much as we get older. Certain things you kind of build that sort of armor a little bit. But it is the one movie that still bothers me. Still bothers me, and I don't think I haven't seen it. I've seen if it's on television and I come across it, I might look at it for 2 minutes, but I know what's going to happen next, so I turn the channel. And unless I'm in a group of people, unless I'm with friends and we can sit and have a horror night, that will probably be the only time. But I don't think I'm not at a place now that I could even go back and watch it by myself, even as centered as I'd like to think that I am.
I think a film for me would be The Omens. Yes, I think like that one, just like the childish element to it. It's just, and the music as well. Like, Jerry Goldsmith's always kind of puts me in that zone of like, it's just haunting. It's just it gets under your skin.
Yeah.
Type thing. Yeah.
I think the casting for those movies were brilliant. How they found the little kid who played Damien, Linda Blair from The Exorcist. You find these innocent-looking children, and yet you send what?
Totally.
For Carla and for Andrew, what is the working relationship like as composer and sound designer?
Cool.
Oh man,
What's the?
we all just got together on my couch and sat and listened down to all the narration, and just every beat that we wanted to hit, we would note and mark and talk about and share. And then it was basically from that point on just kind of letting each other create, I think, and trusting each other. Yeah. And then when it came back together, Hunter and I had some ideas, and you had some ideas, and then we just kind of work around it. COVID's created such a weird world for all of this. It's not, the usual typical spotting session that, you'd traditionally have, but, we were super lucky to have that one night here at the house. So that was my perception.
Yeah, and I think it also, COVID, interestingly, like put us in this position where I don't know if trust is kind of a big word, but like, like we kind of knew, like gave each other that space. Like I felt like we felt comfortable doing that, even though, like this is our first project working together, and, but we were able to, it's a great example of like a limitation really kind of pushing you forward.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really great.
And I think a big part of it too is Hunter brings together people who are really, I say this humbly, but at the top of their game. We all love what we do. We're passionate about what we do. So, when we come together, I think Hunter has a really great way of leading, which is he trusts that the people who he puts in these positions are going to really achieve, which makes it really just fun because then we get to play. It's not like anybody's watching over anyone or babysitting anyone. You get to just create together, which is fun. It's a lot of fun.
I have to say that my experience on the day of coming in and to record was I didn't quite know what to expect in terms of what Hunter really wanted, what you really wanted, Hunter. But the fact that you were so open and trusting of me as the artist to just say, just do what you do. And what you do is going to be absolutely right for what it is I want. And, and it's not very often that we as artists get that opportunity, that someone puts that much trust into you right away to say, it's what you do. I've heard you, so I know. So just do your thing.
Yeah.
And that is such a very freeing thing for an artist because, you have the opportunity to let yourself be who you are authentically and do what your instincts tell you to do, and trust that. So right here and right now, I say thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
I will add onto what y'all just said, like whether it's Tommy finding the voice on the first read, whether it's Carla sending me cues of the first go of things, even to now, and whether it's just really just homing in on the sounds that like I didn't even think to think. Like everybody just had these epic yes moments that just really melts together in a way I'm really proud of, and I can't wait to share with everyone.
Tying into working through COVID, has there been a moment or a challenge that you might not have had otherwise because of what's going on right now that you had to find a creative way to work through?
So from the beginning, it seems like we were kind of all over the place to start. Like I would always predominantly be emails and phone calls that the movement would happen. So I feel like the movement has kind of went unchanged. It went at its own speed. You couldn't quite clock it, but just it never halted at any point to me.
What do you hope people take away from the project?
I hope people take away that when it comes to the horror community, especially, it's not all blood and it's not all guts, and even if it is, there is some like sonic beauty in that really will bring out, whether like we meditate from home, whether I go on walks and bikes a lot. Like everybody has their own way of like finding peace, but I think this will be a cool way to acknowledge that we've been practicing finding peace all along and watching and enjoying all of these genres of movies. And yeah.
How has like during this time for all of you, how your thoughts and your relationships with the ideas changed over the course of this year in particular?
Yeah, for me personally, I mean, 2020 was it is just over yet, is an eye opener. It is an absolute eye opener. And I've certainly felt a change within myself in the way that I see things now compared to how I saw things in 2019, just simply by the multitude of events that have happened within our world, the way things have happened, because I think that they have, affected me in an emotional way that I hadn't really experienced in this lifetime before of anything like that. We're going through something at the moment that's so unprecedented that I've never experienced anything like it. So all of my emotions and stuff are reacting to things differently than how they had been before. And this is where I've really found, meditating I've had to get a really good grip on myself and to hold on to myself a little harder, because it's so easy now to be pulled out of alignment just simply by what's going on around us. So I've had to change my thought patterns in a way. And so therefore I think my thinking is differently, that I go out now with an open mind and try to be much more compassionate and much more considerate and think about other people. Not that I'm not a selfish person, but I do find that I'm thinking more about other people now than I have previously. And that's a good thing.
See, I will say I'm actually the opposite. For the first time in my life, I've been afforded the time to start thinking about myself and really looking inward, because my life has always been about what can I do for others? Gotcha. What can I do for you? And so I find that beautiful that you're on a inverse but equally important journey. All of us, everybody there in the audience, everybody here sitting with us right now, whether it be, giving to others, which often breeds happiness and joy in ourselves, or working inward and giving ourselves what we need to thrive and be happy and be successful. Yes. That's also equally beautiful and equally needed. And I'm very, very, very lucky that this year has been so busy for me. I really haven't had a moment to stop working even through COVID, which is, thank the universe, right? But despite all that, COVID and this time that we've had has really allowed me to focus on the things that really matter, and getting into sound and focusing on the sound element that makes me joyful. Be creative with it. Don't follow the rules. Doing episodic television, oftentimes you're just locked into doing A, B, C. It's the same thing every week. You just show up and do the job. With this and this format, it allows for such creativity. And I can probably speak for all of us, because it just allows you to open up and be like, wow, what are we creating? So dope. Anyway, that's my spiel.
Yeah, I'm just going to pick right up where you were going with that. I mean, it's been this project that's just been self-rewarding and being a part of it. And it's, it's funny because here we are, we're all like in isolation, and, you're kind of in a way forced to deal with yourself, and, so for me, it's been an interesting project to work on, and meditation has been an interesting point right now, because it's you really have to deal with it. You have to deal, you're stuck with yourself. You're not, you don't get to just hide and and so it's been really great being a part of it for that sense too. And it's a project that's for the listeners, that they can take something from it. It gives.
To make a couple of announcements related to the album and just how exactly y'all can get it. And digitally, the album will be free. All that y'all need to do is go onto cast.org. It's the Coalition to Abolish Slavery and Trafficking. Send a donation to them of $7 or more, and then go to theignition.net and send me your screenshot of your donation, and I'll send you a thank you email and a digital copy of the album. And then for physical copies, those will be available on the website store on Halloween, and a super limited run of 20. I worked with Scott Cherry, who's a toy designer, to create this character. In fact, let me get him out of the box real quick. They look like they look like this, like a little almost Star Wars sized figure that it's a, and then like what will be is that you can slide the top. There'll be a USB and at the top that will have just hours of bonus features and bonus content, including like full narrations of all of the narrators, like Carla's fully isolated score, and Andrew, it was like hours atmospheric mixes, so that way you can like practice a little meditation with Andy soundscaping, among like other cool stuff, and I'm super looking forward to that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Looking forward to that.
very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Carla and Tommy and Andrew for joining us virtually, and thank you again, Hunter, as always.
Oh, thank you.
And hope you all have had a great time here at Mad Monster Arizona 2020 so far. And if there are no other questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap up our Q&A.